Most people think they understand themselves. They believe they know why they feel what they feel, why they act the way they act, and why they make decisions they make. But the uncomfortable truth is that most of your behavior is happening beneath your awareness, quietly shaping your life without your permission. You are not as conscious of your patterns as you think you are. And that gap between what you think you know and what's actually happening is where psychology begins. Psychology isn't just about emotions or mental illness. It's about patterns, perception, behavior, and the invisible forces that drive your actions every single day. It's the study of why you repeat the same habits, why you get attached to certain people, why you hesitate, why you overthink, and why you sometimes act against your own best interest. It's not just something you learn. It's something you notice. And most people never truly notice. What if the version of yourself you believe in is only a surface layer? What if your thoughts are not as original as they feel? Your decisions not as independent as you assume? These are not just philosophical questions. They are psychological ones. And once you begin to see them clearly, you don't just learn psychology, you start seeing through yourself. Grab your snacks. We're spiraling deep today. At its core, psychology is the scientific study of the mind and behavior. But that definition, while technically correct, barely scratches the surface of what it actually means. Psychology studies how thoughts are formed, how emotions arise, how behaviors are learned, and how all these interact to shape the way you experience reality. It looks at both what is visible, your actions, and what is invisible, your internal processes. It's important to understand that psychology is not guesswork or intuition. It is built on decades of research, experimentation, and observation. Scientists design studies to understand patterns in human behavior, testing how people respond to different stimuli, environments, and internal states. Over time, these patterns reveal something powerful. Human behavior is not random. It is structured, predictable, and influenced by factors most people never consider. Psychology exists at the intersection of biology, environment, and experience. Your brain, your upbringing, your social environment, and your past experiences all interact to shape how you think and behave. This means that who you are is not just fixed identity, it's a dynamic system. And understanding that system is just the beginning of real awareness. Most people misunderstand psychology because they reduce it to something simple. They think it's about reading people, diagnosing disorders, or explaining emotions in a basic way. But psychology is not about labeling, it's about understanding patterns. And patterns are often uncomfortable because they reveal things about ourselves we'd rather ignore. There's also a cultural misunderstanding. Social media has turned psychology into quick quotes, surface-level advice, and oversimplified explanations. You'll see something like, just think positive, or cut people off. But these ideas ignore the complexity of human behavior. Real psychology doesn't give you easy answers. It gives you better questions, and those questions often challenge your identity. Another reason people misunderstand psychology is because it requires self-honesty. It forces you to confront your habits, your biases, your fears, and your inconsistencies. It's much easier to believe you're in control than to admit that many of your actions are conditioned responses. So instead of going deeper, most people stay at the surface. One of the most important concepts in psychology is the unconscious mind. This is the part of your mind that operates below your awareness, influencing your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors without you realizing it. Studies suggest that a large percentage of your daily actions are driven by unconscious processes. That means you are often reacting, not consciously choosing. Your habits, emotional triggers, and even your preferences are shaped by patterns stored in the unconscious. These patterns are formed through repetition, experience, and conditioning. Over time, they become automatic, allowing you to function efficiently, but also trapping you in cycles you may not even realize. Think about the last time you reacted emotionally to something. Did you consciously choose that reaction, or did it just happen? Psychology teaches us that many of our responses are learned patterns playing out in real time. And until you become aware of them, they will continue to run your life. Every behavior you have follows a pattern, whether it's procrastination, confidence, anxiety, or motivation. There is always a reason behind it. Behavioral psychology shows us that actions are shaped by reinforcement, repetition, and environment. What you do repeatedly becomes who you are. This means that even the things you struggle with are not permanent traits. They are learned behaviors. And what is learned can be unlearned or reshaped. But this requires awareness first. You cannot change a pattern you do not recognize. The deeper realization is this: your life is not just happening to you. It is being shaped by patterns that you can observe, understand, and eventually influence. Psychology gives you the tools to do that, but only if you're willing to look closely. Psychology also reveals that your perception is not objective. Your brain filters, interprets, and constructs your experience of reality. Two people can go through the same situation and come away with completely different interpretations. This is because perception is shaped by beliefs, past experiences, and expectations. Cognitive psychology studies how these mental processes work. It shows that your brain is constantly predicting, filling in gaps, and creating a coherent story of the world. But that story is not necessarily accurate. It's just convincing. This means that your reality is in many ways a psychological construction. And once you understand that, you start to question everything. Your assumptions, your reactions, your interpretations. You begin to see that changing your perspective can literally change your experience of life. A lot of people want control over their lives, but they don't understand where control actually comes from. It doesn't come from forcing outcomes or trying to control everything around you. It comes from understanding the patterns within you. Psychology gives you a different kind of control, the ability to observe your thoughts without immediately reacting to them. This creates space between stimulus and response. And in that space, you gain the control to choose differently. But this kind of control requires discipline. It requires you to slow down, reflect, and question your automatic responses. Most people don't do this, which is why they feel out of control. They are reacting to patterns they don't even see. If you want to truly understand psychology, you have to move beyond just learning concepts. You have to start observing yourself. Pay attention to your thoughts, your reactions, your habits, and your patterns. Notice what triggers you, what motivates you, and what holds you back. Journaling, reflection, and mindful awareness are powerful tools. They allow you to bring unconscious patterns into conscious awareness. And once something becomes conscious, it becomes something you can work with. The goal is not to become perfect. The goal is to become aware, because awareness is the foundation of change. Without it, you are just repeating patterns. With it, you begin to evolve. So, psychology is not just something you study. It's something you live. It's the lens through which you understand yourself and others. And the deeper you go, the more you realize how much of your life has been shaped by patterns you never questioned. Once you start to see the patterns, you can't unsee them. You begin to notice behavior not just in yourself but in everyone around you. Conversations change, decisions change, awareness deepens, and life starts to feel different, not because the world changed, but because you did. I want to thank you all for going down this spiral with me today. If this made you think a little deeper about your own mind, leave a like. Comment on what you'd like to spiral into next. And if you want to keep going down these rabbit holes with me, subscribe. See you guys in the next spiral. Peace.